right, FightHype.com is here with the best fighter in the world, pound for pound on the planet, Terence "Bud" Crawford. Terence, man, we're hearing a lot, and there's so much to get to in your career right now. But we're hearing the name Amir Khan for March. Is that what you're hearing too? That you might be fighting Khan?
Yeah, that's one of the opponents that we sent a proposal to. We're just hoping that we can get one of them secured.
Were you happy when you heard that? Because sometimes it's not always easy to get the big names in there. So were you like, okay, that's something I'm looking forward to, a fight with Khan?
Well, it ain't done until it's signed and sealed. You know, don't want to get my hopes up too high. Like I said, once it's signed, then we have a fight.
Now you know the game. You go to the fights and watch closely. How do you size him up? Is his height and his speed still formidable?
Actually, I've never been to an American fight. I know he's a great fighter. He got tremendous speed. If we do fight, I know he's going to come well prepared. It makes for a good fight.
Do you think you would get, because you've gotten 2 knockouts in your 2 fights at welterweight, do you think you get a 3rd knockout in that fight?
Well, I never predict a knockout, never. Any of my professional fights that I ever predict a knockout, because it's boxing, anything can happen, and you just never know. So I just go in there and train to the best of my abilities and make sure I'm 110% ready.
And people, they talk a lot about chins. They'll talk about, do you put stock into when people say this guy has a good chin or that guy has a good chin? What do you think about that?
Well, some people have good chins, some people have great chins. You really can't put a pinpoint on it until a fighter gets hit in the chin with a good shot that he don't see. And that's when you can rate a fighter's good chin or great chin.
We don't see you get hit a whole lot. How do you think your chin is?
My chin hold up very well. I've been hit a lot of times, off guard, on guard, with big shots, and I held up. So, I can't say I don't have a chin. I can't say, I've had the greatest chin in the world, because I never give the opponent a chance to even test me out like that. But I know for sure I can take a great punch.
I don't believe you've ever been down as a professional, is that right?
Never.
And then with Khan, he throws a lot of combinations. Like we've seen in the Danny Garcia fight, throws a lot of combinations. Does that leave too many openings and opportunities for a fighter like you, who might be the best counter puncher in the game?
Well, we just gotta dissect his fighting style, and come fight time, I'll make my adjustments in the ring, and we'll see. Do you prefer that fight over Collazo? That was the other fight. Most definitely. I never signed for Collazo. I never once said I was fighting Collazo, so that was just a rumor.
What do you think of the fight, though? I mean, he's been a solid southpaw veteran for years. Do you like that fight as well? You think it's a good stay busy fight?
That fight really too much didn't interest me. Given the circumstance that he haven't been active, and his age and the type of fighters that he fought in the past. Collazo is a great fighter. I take nothing away from him, but I'm looking for all the bigger and better opportunities in the sport right now.
I know one of them big names and opportunities you moved towards was Danny Garcia. Right. Did it work out to where they didn't want the fight? Your people called their people, or how'd that work out?
We told them to send them an offer. The offer wasn't received, I guess. They didn't get back to him. So, I don't know the full story on that subject. All I know is my team sent his team an offer, and it never got back to us. So, we moved on.
I know you're the kind of fighter who, when guys talk, you like to put them in their place and punish them. Did you want to make that Danny and Angel fight? And Bomac's goofing off right here behind you. But is part of why you reached out and wanted, or I don't know if you reached out, but is part of why you wanted the Danny fight is because of that? Some things they said in the past, you wanted to shut them up.
For one, we got a lot of history together. We came up in the amateurs together. We both beat each other. Talk smack to each other, so why not? He said that I haven't done nothing in the game. He done more than me, so why not fight me?
You beat him in the amateurs, isn't that right?
Right.
Was that a tough task, or was that easy work?
All fights is tough. You know, he beat me, I beat him. So, you know, I can't take nothing away from him. He's a great champion. And, he's doing his thing right now.
And then you saw Errol Spence in Oklahoma. Everybody was happy to see that because that's the fight everybody wanted. Did you come away feeling like that helped build towards the fight? Like you got closer to making it happen?
In the future, you know, I feel like, you know, a lot of people still, you know, wondering how a Terence Crawford and Errol Spence fight will match up and fare. They don't know, you know. So us two, you know, drawing back and forth together, that just give the fans a little more excitement, being that we never been up close in person with each other like that ever before. So I just think that just give the fans a little bit of glimpse of what they'll see come fight night.
Do you agree with the fans that sometimes the politics ain't right, because you should be fighting Spence and Lomachenko should be fighting Mikey, not Mikey and Spence fighting each other? I mean, what do you think about that?
I don't think it has too much to do with politics. I just think a lot of people try to make it about the politics, you know, and try to make it seems like it's two sides of the streets and all that. Being that Collazo is with PBC, you know, and so is Felix Diaz, so is John Molina. You know, I just think when it comes down to your best fighters fighting another network best fighters, it becomes business. You know, and if it don't make sense, then why not fight somebody in your own stable that makes sense?
Do you think some guys are hiding behind, are using it as an excuse when in reality they could be doing more to make certain fights happen?
I don't know. I wouldn't say they using it as an excuse, because we all fighters and we in the game to fight. You know, so I just think the more they hear, the more that their brain is telling them to say certain things. Right. You know, that's all I think.
And then Spence Garcia, a lot of people saying Mikey's too small. You know Mikey well. He was your stablemate. What do you think of that fight? Who wins that fight and why?
It's gonna be a good fight. You know, I always said if Mikey can take Spence power, it's gonna make for an interesting fight. You know, but if he can't, then we all know what's gonna be the ending results. But you know, Mikey got skills. He can box real good. He can punch. You know, and he's real fundamentally sound. So Spence gonna have to be careful coming in, and Mikey gonna have to be careful with not to get hit with a big shot.
I mean, because you started at 35, now you're champ at 47, but Mikey started all the way at 26. I mean,
but he was a big 26 pounder. You know, me and Mikey, we fought at 132.
Back in the amateurs, right?
So for him to go all the way down to 26, as you see, one time he missed weight. You know, so Mikey always was big for the divisions that he was in.
In the end, are the bookies right? Is it probably going to be Spence by stoppage?
I don't know. Like I said, you never know. It's boxing. You know, he's an undefeated multi-weight champion in his own right, so you can't write him off.
And, you know, we talk about pound for pound a lot. Well, actually, you know, Pacquiao went ahead and went to that side and took a fight with Broner. Do you feel like that kind of validates what you were talking about, that Pacquiao was never interested in fighting Terence Crawford?
He really wasn't, you know, but that's no here or there. You know, like I always said before, Pacquiao doesn't make Terence Crawford's career. I'm young. I got a lot left in the sport of boxing, and I just feel like, you know, my career is going upwards.
Okay, let's do it. And then, man, do you give Broner much of a shot in that fight?
Yeah, of course. Broner got the skills and the talent and the abilities to be any guy any given day, given if he how serious he take the fight.
You think Pacquiao's age is going to hurt him in that fight?
You never know. He looked good in his last fight, so you never know which Pacquiao will show up.
And I got to ask you, man, because I know you were about 17, 18 at the time when Floyd Mayweather fought Arturo Gatti. I'm just curious, did you watch that fight?
Of course. I still watch it.
Right, because it was that kind of... Because I'm asking because When you fought Ndongo at 140, you looked really great that night too. Same weight class Floyd that we fought Gotti.
Right.
Not asking hypothetical who would win, but do you think that night you were right there with Floyd on the night he fought Gotti?
Of course. I'm always thinking that I'm on a higher level than a lot of people give me credit. It's just me with the confidence that I have in myself.
Being that he was the previous pound for pound king before you, does he get a little more attention than other great fighters from you when it came to studying him on the way up? Or?
Of course.
What'd you take from him?
He was my era. You know, the whole hit and not get hit, and to make the adjustments that he's made to certain fighters. You know, he's the king.
So you think you guys got a lot in common?
Some aspects, yeah, we do.
How are you guys different?
We both box. I think, you know, I take more chances.
Excuse me, Crawford.
You know, right now. But earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, you know, it just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you talk about. Do you talk about money or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy fighter.
You're more like Pretty Boy, probably, right?
Right. But then, you know, he started having hand injuries, so he couldn't really keep up with the same, you know, intensity.
And moving up in weight, fighting bigger guys, so yeah. And lastly, brother, man, you said, I've heard you before say it irks you when other people even think of putting other fighters #1 with you. Why are they wrong? Why is there no doubt it's Crawford #1 pound for pound?
Listen, I'm willing to show them. I didn't been showing them. I just felt like I never had a close fight before. And everything else shows.
Thanks, Terence.